certifying badasses one podcast at a time. Teaching you to love Monday. Check your baggage at licensed-to-be-badass.com and hop on the bus to Badassville. Turn up your energy with Mustang Monday. Here once again in the driver's seat is Kelly Orchard.
Hey everybody, Kelly Orchard here in Mustang Monday. I'm the Badass Certifier. Sitting here with probably a more certified badass than me, Nicole Albrecht from Elite Tax Partners.
That's correct. Yep.
Right. So you just started your new firm.
Yeah, for 21 years I was with my partner, and that was a beautiful, amazing mentorship and partnership, and we just have different visions. And so over the last year we talked about what it looks like separating, and so we've been open officially 4 months.
Well, okay, so all right, so Nicole had made a comment on my last Mustang Monday video, which prompted me to invite her to the car because, well, you're my tax person now, so, we'll just release that or, disclose that. But I was like, I want to get you in the Mustang to do a Mustang Monday video because there's so much more about you than meets the eye. And she's like, well, you better do it now because come February, I go dark.
Yep, February through April 15th or April 18th this year, God willing, that it doesn't get extended. Basically, I just grind it out in our beautiful office, and then I'm social again after that.
Yeah. All right. So I saw that the organization that you support and represent, Rancho Damacitas, won a scholarship or a significant amount of a grant recently. And so I just wanted to let's get to know Nicole a little bit.
Okay.
It's like I know you have a very interesting background because I think you were like a cage fighter?
Yep, I was an MMA fighter for a while.
That is so badass, I gotta tell you. You could kick my ass.
I would never.
I know. Okay. But, all right, so tell me about that. What led you to do that?
Yeah, so I was a single mom at age 16, and it was a really rough transition. My son had behavior problems because I wasn't there a lot and he didn't have a father in his life. My parents did the best they could helping me out and actually helping me out greatly, and so did a lot of friends and community. But it was a really rough go. And through that is I needed money. That's how I got into MMA fighting. I was really athletic, and someone said, hey, you want to jump in a cage and make $3,000 if you win? I said, well, shit, that could pay for my rent for a few months. So that's how I got into it. And then I was naturally good at it. And it's scary as hell, but super fun. And that was right at the ground level where there wasn't... MMA was still the sport that they looked at kind of barbaric, and it wasn't like the big UFC as it is now. And so there wasn't a lot of women. So I was fighting women that weighed 130 pounds. I fought at 165 pounds all the way up to like 250 pounds. So,
so there was no real like weight class at that point because it was so limited.
Yeah. So you had asked me why Rancho Damacitas. And so once I started gaining some traction under my feet, and there was paycheck left at the end of the month and not month left at the end of the paycheck, I began to start seeing how we really do have a setback as single moms, but that doesn't mean we can't get ahead and gain traction. And so I think Julie No had asked me to share my story. Julie No, because we're really good friends, knew my story, but not a lot of the community knew about single mom, MMA fighter, all of that. I hid that for a little bit. I hid that for quite a while, actually, about 18 years. She asked me to share my story, and I did. And then they asked me to be on the board of Rancho Damacitas, and it's just such a beautiful, like, God has come full circle, right? Here I was, I needed help. Here's this amazing program that can help other single moms. And the program's hard. You have to be wanting to be better. You have to want better for you and your child. So, and I love that they're really held accountable, and
not just a handout.
It's definitely
but
a
hand up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, so that's just my passion, my jam. 100 Women Who Care had an amazing opportunity for us to share a story and to get up and win $10,000. Possibly that could turn into about $18,000 for additional grants. And we're going to redo our playground because we know as even moms, not just single moms, that's our haven, right? We can go to somewhere safe, let the kids run around while we read a book or get some fresh air. And so I'm really excited about that.
You know, so I don't share this often much either, but I was a single mom.
Oh, okay.
So, but not a young mom like you, and I'd already had a career established. So my family had already had the radio station, and 3 kids later, then I got a divorce. So by the time before I was 30, I was divorced with the 3 small kids.
Wow.
Fortunately, though, I had a different financial circumstance that I wasn't struggling financially. We had the family business, but then things happened and then we don't.
Right.
And then I was spiraling, and I can understand how you really need that hand up, not the hand out.
Right.
You need somebody to give you that confidence and that boost.
Yeah.
So when you say that, so where do these women come from? How do they find Rancho Damacitas?
So there's a couple different ways. We're in touch with Project Touch, which is the homeless outreach program here. And so if she sees a single mom that's a good fit for the program, she refers them in. But it's really word of mouth. We're right now rehabbing. Lennar has come in and sponsored really doing some pretty big improvements to all the homes right now. And so as soon as we're done with that big project, we're going to really do a better job of opening it up and getting the word out. We do Craigslist ads and things like that, and social media posts. And so really the moms, when I sit with them and just talk with them and ask them how they found out, sometimes it's through other moms that are living there that are sharing Project Touch, and a couple of them came through from Craigslist. So,
And so it's the moms and their kids, and you provide housing support, job training. Please tell me more. I don't want to guess.
Yeah.
I don't want to be guessing here.
So the moms come in and they have about 6 weeks to kind of get their bearings. And so a lot of them come in, with a lot of baggage. As a single mom, we
no matter what, yeah,
carry a lot of baggage. And so they come in and we give them job training. We help them with resumes. There's a couple of really great organizations that do reach out and help hire the moms on. And then we help them get a car. And so my piece of it is I get to come in. I'm a huge Dave Ramsey fan, like probably the biggest Dave Ramsey fan ever. I get to come in and teach them a version of financial peace. And so really get down into the weeds with them and teach them how to budget. And they are required to pay rent. It's a small amount, but we need to get them started on the right path, right? Because we're always going to have rent, utilities, and things like that. They get parenting classes, cooking classes, healthy living classes, and the therapy and the support that they need wrapped around them. What's also great is single mom is a very lonely journey, and they cohabit. There's 2 to 3 families because these homes are pretty large, and there's 5 homes on the property. And so they learn how to get along, and that's challenging sometimes. And then they also, that's their support system, because a lot of them don't have family. And so, it's really cool when someone's like, oh yeah, I was able to babysit so that they could attend their AA meeting. And then in return, she babysits so I could pick up an extra shift and get a couple extra bucks, this paycheck.
That is so amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. How long has Rancho Damacitas been in existence?
So it's been in existence for quite a while. Don't quote me on this, but I think 1992. But October of 2017 is when they transitioned from a foster care program to the single mom housing.
Okay, so that's okay. So it was a few years ago. I remember it was a foster care program.
Correct.
So it's only been the single mom housing for what, like five years?
Yep.
We're working on 5 years.
Yep.
Okay. And that is so you're on the board and you're very heavily involved in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else do you do? I know it's like what you talked about. You only get to have fun 2 months out of the year. Right?
I have fun a lot, but yeah, I get to really let my hair down January and May. And this is January, so the hair's down, we're having fun.
Well, so I would imagine that your single mom existence really taught you a lot about all of these resources that you're providing at Rancho Damacitas and helping out with them.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so you actually have hands-on. You're not just donating money. You're actually there.
Yes.
Giving advice and supporting them.
Yep.
Which is something I always recommend anybody to do. It's when you give your heart, when you give your time.
Yeah.
Those are the greatest gifts.
Yeah, because we can all write checks, and a lot of us, now I'm in a fortunate position that I'm able to do that as well. But the time is so much more meaningful. This is where I'm having the biggest impact. Because these moms, and I was in a similar situation, someone can come in and talk to you and you just think that they have everything together and their life has been so easy. But as I start to share my stories as well, we got a visitor.
Well, let's do this. Let's do it. Tom, come over here.
Hey, Rob, we're doing an interview. Come on in here.
It's not live, it's recorded, but it'll be fun. We're just having a chat, you know.
Our financial advisor, Rob.
Oh, hey, I'm Kelly Orchard.
Nice to meet you.
We met very briefly.
We're doing a Mustang Monday interview. You like it?
I like it. The market is going crazy.
I know. I should rebalance.
Talking business Monday morning.
Trades in.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
All right. Bye, Rob.
Rob is your financial investor dude, or
Certified financial analyst, which
Certified?
is
Wow.
like the highest designation degrees that you can have. That's a smart cookie.
That's a smart. We didn't get him on video, but maybe I'll snap a picture of him or something. We'll just add that in there, or I'll edit it out. But that was a
Yeah.
funny bit. We haven't had that happen before, where someone has actually like approached the car when we're doing this. Like, what are you doing in there?
Yeah.
We're just chatting, just having a coffee.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was funny.
Yeah.
I wish I could get him in the car. That would have been funny.
He's like 6'5". So I
Yeah,
don't
that
know
wasn't
if he'd
possible. Yeah, he barely. But that was a pretty. I was wondering, it's like, what is this dude doing? You totally distracted me.
fit. We were talking about Rancho Damacitas
Yes, we were.
and the moms.
Come back. Yes, and the moms.
And so I think that my unique, I know that I'm helpful on the board because I'm the treasurer. So I'm always looking over the financials and everything like that. But what I love doing is to mentor with the moms, and it's to have someone that's walked in their shoes and to see that it is possible and to provide that shining light of hope, I think is very incredible because, and I feel so blessed that I'm able to do that because it's hard. That's a hard walk being a single mom, and being, most of the moms are homeless when they come into our nonprofit. And so it's just a really cool position. I just think that God has me in the right spot.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely has you in the right spot. It's like, my experience as a single mom, 3 kids, and, you can, I remember the hardness of it and how hard it is. And now I look at my daughters who have husbands that are in the picture. And then when they start sharing how difficult life is, I have to hold my breath.
Yeah. I'm sure that's difficult because your job is to give to give advice on life situations, but if it's not asked for by your child, just to listen.
Yeah, well, mine is more like, you are lucky, you're so fortunate that their father is in the picture and that you have, so I think that appreciate the good that you have.
Yeah.
And but be willing. I like that anybody who comes to Rancho Damacitas has to want to improve their lives. They're not looking at staying a victim.
Right.
They've been victimized. We're not diminishing that, right? But they don't want, they're choosing not to be a victim.
Right.
And to pick themselves up and accept help. Sometimes that's the hardest part too, is to ask for and then accept the assistance.
That is the hardest part. I remind my son of, one time it was very difficult. It was around Christmas time, and I believe it was Rotary, but I'm not entirely sure who it was. But we opened up our low-income apartment door, and I had $20 for Christmas gifts that year. And I know it's not about the toys and things like that, but I had opened up the door, and there was 2 huge trash bags filled to the brim of toys and a brand new bike out front. It was so amazing. So the $20 I got to buy wrapping paper. I ran out actually because there were so many toys.
And presents.
I wrapped them in newspaper, and it was such an amazing Christmas, an amazing feeling. But it was really humbling. And my team and I, for Christmas we join with Rotary and do the toy drive. And sometimes they're like, "Well, that was kind of abrupt." And I'm like, "You got to understand how hard it is to accept blessings.
Right.
It's so easy to give blessings, and when you're on that side, it feels amazing and it's great. But it's very humbling and hard to receive blessings, although that's how God has positioned us. He wants us to receive and give. So it's kind of interesting with that, but it is hard.
Yeah, it is really hard. And, it's like when I first started out as a therapist, my story's obviously different. I was a single mom. So when and I was doing all right, my dad and I had a consulting business. Now my kids are teenagers and I owned my house and I got sick. And that's when my financial doom began. And so then in grad school, so I lived poor as a church mouse for quite a few years, trying to build up to becoming licensed to become a therapist. And my message is that no matter what happens, you can rebuild your life. You can find a dream and pursue it and get there. But it also takes help of other people and accepting it, because that's one of my biggest weaknesses is that I don't always ask for help, but I'm always willing to give it, and so you're right, though it is about accepting and receiving. And that is so strange, because that's kind of like my word this year. I do a word of the year.
Okay.
And my word this year is receive.
Okay.
Because I have too also had friends to remind me, it's like, you give and give and give. You've got to let yourself receive. And I don't know, would that be your message for some badasses out there?
I think so, yeah. I love that.
I do too.
Yeah.
I really do, Nicole. That was a really good message. So a badass tip. So kind of expand on that if you don't mind. I don't want to put you on the spot, but it's the humble yourself to ask for help when you need it and be willing to receive it.
Yeah, I think it reminds me of a financial peace class that I took. And there was a single mom going through that class, and she was military, and she had some money, and she was learning she was paying off a lot of debt that she had gone through a divorce as well. And she still she tithed, she gave a lot. And it was really interesting because she went out to lunch with someone who was really wealthy. And that wealthy person had a message from God to pay off that woman's debt. And so she said, during lunch, how much debt do you have left? I forget the number. I think it was around $8,000. And the next week she opened up a letter, and it was an $8,000 check to pay off her debt. She had the hardest time receiving that. She wanted to give that $8,000.
I just can't accept this, right?
We had to remind her, hold on. You have been praying. You have been diligent. You have been a good steward with your money now for 4 years. This is God's blessing. Allow this woman to be the vessel through God to get this blessing so that you could finish this journey. This chapter's done. Move on to the next chapter.
Yeah.
And so receiving, although it would have been hard for me as well.
Yeah,
it
me too.
is beautiful when you just allow it to happen, and you're appreciative when it happens.
I do recall somebody saying that, Kelly, you are denying me the blessing of helping you.
Yeah.
It will make me feel better.
Exactly.
If you just let me do this. And it was a God thing too. I had to stop, and it was, okay, you're right. Because I'm usually the one that's the giving.
Yeah.
And we do have to, be willing to receive. And that is my word of the year. I can't believe you brought that up,
Awesome.
It is awesome.
That's how it works.
All right, everybody. So Nicole Albrecht, Elite Tax Partners, and on the board of Rancho Damacitas, which is very near and dear to your heart.
It is.
Yeah. So and your badass tip is be willing to receive.
Yep.
All right. So I'm Kelly Orchard, the badass certifier. Now this is very casual. That's my tagline. Just say it with me, will you?
I will.
We are reminding you to be bold, be brave, be confident,
and be badass.
If you enjoy these interviews, you can watch videos of Mustang Monday on Kelly's YouTube channel, too. Grab your Badass Habits ebook. Get started on your badass journey. Go to licensedtobebadass.com.